Live on Facebook, live on YouTube, live in the Facebook group, live on Instagram. Good to go. All right. Today, man, I'm fired up. I'm fired up because I just interviewed one of my personal heroes on my Millionaire Secrets show, the one and only Dave Asprey, the inventor of Bulletproof, Bulletproof coffee, Bulletproof bars, all of the ancillary tools and accessories that he sells. He's got the sleep induction mat. He's got the blue light filtering glasses. He's got all these vitamins and supplements and neurotransmitter supports. And I mean, this guy literally, you look up the word biohacking in the dictionary, say, hey, who pioneered the art of optimizing the human body? His name is in there. Biohacking is a term coined by Dave Asprey. I just interviewed the guy. I've been reading Dave's blog since I lived in New York in 2009. And I was surrounded by a bunch of VC guys and private equity guys and traders. And they were all hooked on this bulletproof coffee thing that they had heard about that was invented by Dave Asprey when he was walking around in the Himalayas studying with monks and Tibet and Nepal, and they had this drink that they would drink that was yak butter dissolved in a tea or something, and he came home and fashioned this bulletproof coffee, kind of Western analog of this Himalayan drink, and talked about how awesome it made him feel, and whatever. If you don't know Dave Asprey, look up Dave Asprey. Bottom was, I just got to spend an hour with Dave talking about biohacking, but in particular talking about the overlap between our biology and our biochemistry, and ultimately the success of running our business or growing our career, basically our professional life mixed with our physical life and even our emotional life, and the way that, oh, excuse me. Oh, I just burped on camera. That's impressive. The way that we take care of our bodies ultimately shows up in everything that we do. I mean, this guy is, like I said, I kind of fan geeked out. There have only been a couple interviews where I really fan geeked. One was Dave Asprey. One was Alex Mayer, who just bought Dress Barn and Linens and Things. And I don't know, I've had a couple others where I fan geeked a little bit. One was Mark Bell, the inventor of the, if you like to work out and you ever wear those glute bands around your knees, Mark Bell invented those. But anyway, so here's what we want to talk about. And what's crazy is I had already planned to do a live today about what I was going to call the six senses. And no, I do not see dead people. The six senses. I'm reading this book right now called In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts by Gabor Mate, which is it's a pretty influential and prominent book. It's sold, it's a bestseller, but it's profound. And it's trying to understand addiction. And the hungry ghost concept comes from Buddhism, and that we have these ghosts, wafting about inside of our consciousness and our psyche, and they're hungry and they want to consume. And ultimately they want to devour, and we use them, or we end up consuming and devouring and consuming substances and engaging in behaviors that release dopamine because we're trying to numb ourselves. We're trying to suppress emotions. And so what Dave has done is he's dealt with that same aspect of life, only he's dealt with it through biological optimization rather than like treatment of addiction. But it's all the same thing. It's about optimizing the human machine so that you get completely in touch with sensory data, with mental stimulation, with creativity, your energy. And he literally was talking about how he's like, body fat drains energy. It's like if you have a 60-pound spare tire around your abdomen and you're trying to have creative thought, you're literally competing with your own torso for the energy supply that your brain needs. And he was like, entrepreneurs, CEOs, athletes, Hollywood movie stars, those are the four primary categories that his technology started to catch on with because they are high output humans. They mentally, an entrepreneurial CEO outputs the same amount of mental energy in a given day as a quarterback in the Super Bowl. Like, it's proven, it's tested. The difference is entrepreneurial CEOs, they don't get days off. They certainly don't get weeks off. They definitely don't get seasons off. And you look at like stock traders and you look at actors, people who have to perform well, exude huge amounts of energy, also feel good and look good. These categories of people that are trying to operate at a level beyond what you would consider the norm or the average, it's hard. It's hard. And if your body is not optimized, you are literally competing with yourself for the resources that you need to ultimately do the things that you want to do. And what was so cool about how the conversation evolved was because we ended up talking a lot about marketing and digital marketing in particular. The type of business that I do, which I'm constantly evangelizing, is, I believe, the future of prosperity. It's the certainty of prosperity, that if you live in the world today and you have a job and you have the illusion of certainty, I'm going to argue that you're actually at more risk than you would be if you would at least start a business on the side that leveraged the internet. That essentially actively participating in the new economy is how you mitigate the risk of being entrenched in the old economy, the brick and mortar economy, the corporate model, the work in an office, the trade your time for a paycheck, the, live and die by the whims of your boss. That model, I believe, is riskier than becoming an entrepreneur through the internet. That's why I do what I do. Otherwise, I wouldn't do what I do. What am I doing if that's not true, by the way? Why am I out there? Why am I putting out so much energy? Because I'm trying to change the world by helping you and you and you and you and you individually realize the truth that there is a false sense of security in investing in other structures for your security, and that the only real security is in building the skills, the competencies, and establishing the priorities that come by engaging as an entrepreneur in the new economy. That's my belief. You don't have to agree with me. If you don't agree with me, don't listen to me. But that's what I believe, and that's why I do what I do. And the conversation with Dave ultimately led into this territory of like understanding how the overlap of emotions. Hang on, I'm going to turn that AC off. It's pretty annoying. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Gosh, I can't wait till I get my new office and I don't have a giant air conditioning unit right over my head. So anyways, listening to Dave, we were talking about how as a marketer, as an entrepreneurial self-promoter, and that's really what I think of when I think of marketing. Marketing is like having a business or having a product or having a service or having a vision or having an idea or having a cause or whatever, and actually trying to go out into the market and create the demand so that you can offer the supply, right? That's marketing. It's really where entrepreneurship, the entrepreneurial rubber meets the road of the market. That's why it's called marketing, right? And so we're all marketers. If we don't think of ourselves as marketers, first of all, that's a breakdown in our conception of what it means to own a business. We're all marketers, or at least that we need to be. And the conversation with Dave, again, if you're just coming on, I'm talking about Dave Asprey, the creator of the Bulletproof brand, Bulletproof coffee, Bulletproof bars, and so on. The conversation really went into this very, very cool territory where it was like, listen, if your body isn't optimized, then you literally have a physical obstacle to intelligent emotional discernment. You can't feel properly if your neurological system isn't working well. Why does that matter for an entrepreneur? Because if you can't feel properly, if you don't have emotional clarity and the ability to accurately interpret the sensory data of your own feelings, then you are not going to be able to predict and ultimately control how your message reaches the market. So let's say you're sitting down to write, design a page for your business. And let's say your headline is, let's say your business is that you sell whole life insurance. And I'm totally pulling this out of the air. I'm just going to kind of make some stuff up here. Let's say your business is that you sell whole life insurance. What do you write? You've got the blank page syndrome. What are you going to write? Your headline, I sell whole life insurance. Put in your information below for a free quote. Terrible headline. Nobody cares, right? Future got you worried? How'd you like to wake up every day with confidence, peace, security, and an assurance of prosperity? Yeah, we're getting closer, maybe a little wordy. Worried about the future, question mark? Let's cure that once and for all. Opt in below for my free report on one simple decision you can make to change your financial life forever. Now we're getting somewhere. That's a better headline. That page is probably at least going to be good enough to start as a basis for measuring and optimizing conversions. What was going on inside me, with me, in my head and my heart and my gut as I was kind of moving from clunky language to better language based on my own experience? I was feeling out the words. If my emotions, if my internal senses are not calibrated, I literally can't write good copy. I can't create words that sell. I can't create words that move if I can't feel the feelings of the words and thus discern which ones to use. And creatively, without brain fog, reach out for different word choices. Like at a very minute and tactical level, as an entrepreneur trying to make a buck in this world, you are stymied if you are not biologically and emotionally optimized. You know, I made $1 million in my early 30s. I made $1 million multiple times in my early 30s. But I blew it. I was up, I was down, I spent it. I didn't have nearly as much to show for it as I should have. And people thought I was a big deal. People in the affiliate marketing world were like, oh, this Jeff Lerner guy, he's a rapid success story. He's got great skills. And the reality is I wasn't building crap for businesses. In my early, probably around 33, I started going to therapy. I went to a lot of therapy. I had a lot of crap, a lot of head trash, a lot of negative beliefs, a lot of destructive inclinations, a lot of shame, a lot of self-loathing and insecurity and stuff that I had to go do thousands and thousands of hours of very, very painful work just ultimately in pursuit of one singular goal. And it's the definition of sanity preferred by Scott Peck in the opening paragraph of The Road Less Traveled. He says, listen, sanity is an ability to see things exactly as they are, no matter what the price tag. That ultimately, the ability to simply see the world, see other people, and see our own life as it actually is, no matter what the consequence of it is. In other words, if I'm poor, I need to be able to see that I'm poor and not dismiss it because of the shame of being poor, because otherwise I'm never going to fix it. If I'm a bad communicator and every time I try to give a corrective or directive, comment to my wife, it comes off insulting, it comes off passive aggressive, it comes off demeaning, I need to be able to see that and accept humbly that I have some work to do and that I need to learn a different way to communicate. Whatever it is, if I can't see the world as it is, no matter what the price tag, no matter what the emotional consequence, then I have not reached the level of sanity that I should aim for. That's all I did in therapy. I probably did 10,000 hours of therapy just to get there, or a lot closer to there. You know what happened in my life? You know what happened in my business? I added a zero. I went from being a guy that knew how to do $1 million to being a guy that knew how to do $10 million plus of revenue in a year with my own personal business. Not because I learned any new marketing, not because I learned any new direct response strategy, not because I got a new designer, not because I suddenly knew more about managerial operations or how to coordinate a team, but because I just got better with communication, with human connection, with empathy, with validation, with loving my team, with loving my customers, with being able to express that love in a way that didn't feel clumsy or that what they could actually receive because I got out of my own way. All of this mushy, touchy-feely, qualitative stuff that all the type A, dominant red personalities in the world who are a lot of business owners think that they ain't got no time for. It literally multiplied my income times 10, and I'm in a transitional process right now of it actually multiplying my income times 100. And what I have found is that the better I get at just the human experience, being a human, connecting with humans, the better my business goes. I mean, to an uncanny, bizarre, almost inexplicable degree. The power of vulnerability, being able to transparently access my entire spectrum of emotions. This is the crap that is paying, it's not crap, it's wonderful, it's gold. This is the stuff that is paying dividends in my life beyond any amount of additional business intelligence that I could acquire. And that's what Dave was talking about. That's what was so cool. You know, I have a note over here from the live that I was going to do before I even talked to Dave that was about the sixth senses. And that sixth sense is the ability to properly interpret our own feelings. And one of the lines I had written in my notes, I said, the more fully and accurately we experience our feelings, the more control we get over our whole life. For me, I've always been really big on doing the work to be able to more fully and accurately experience my own feelings. Again, in a sane way, where I'm willing to experience them fully regardless of the price tag and to see the world on the basis of that experience. And what Dave was talking about was even backing up one step further and optimizing the machine. What's up, Jordan? Yo, Bleph. What's up, man? To be able to optimize the machine that allows us to actually process that data. This is why it's all linked. This is why I talk about physical, personal, and professional excellence. Want to make more money? Get up and go to the gym. Want to make more money? Learn to love without feeling insecure. Learn to say, I love you. Are you a person that has a hard time saying I love you to people that you love? Why? What sense does that make? Want to make more money? Smile more. Want to make more money? Be more enthusiastic. Want to make more money? Have better habits. Want to make more money? Be more disciplined. Stop obsessing over the latest marketing hack or the latest piece of software or the latest gimmick or the latest trick or the latest stock or the latest crypto offering. That stuff's all great. You'll have more discernment and be better able to evaluate all of those things if you get your body, your mind, your emotions, your psychology, your shame, your vulnerability, your fears, your anxieties. You have to deal with this stuff if you want to be successful. It's and it was like, Jeff, why are you ranting about this? Why don't you just be quiet and go home and be with your wife? I will be doing that very shortly. But first, I'm going to say this. I have a vantage point that allows me to see thousands and thousands of people starting out on a road toward a desired result of success and prosperity. I own an entrepreneurial education company. Thousands of people a month buy my courses to say, hey, I want to make more money. I want to build a new life. I want to change my trajectory. I want to take better care of the people I love. I want to have a different set of possibilities for my life. And a certain tragically large percentage of them end up saying something to the effect of, I don't want to talk about all this hocus pocus, mushy voodoo garbage about my head and my feelings and my blah, blah, blah. I just want to know how to make money. Tell me about the marketing. Tell me about the offers. Tell me about the magic pieces of copy that are going to change everything and make it so that I can sell even when other people can't. And I'm like, do you not understand the world that we live in now? You're not some anonymous, faceless, energetically neutral being who just is going to push buttons and make money. People connect to people. People want to feel energy, even if it's just a sales letter that's just words with no known author. People will feel the energy in the words. People will feel the energy in the words. And if your base of feelings has a bunch of garbage interlaced in it, and you think that you're going to strong arm your way into making a lot of money because you have this dominant, aggressive, masculine personality, and you come in and you get what you want and you force it. If you're a force person, you're screwed. You're broke. You're toast. In the world we live in, you're toast. 100 years ago, 200 years ago, maybe. Not anymore. At the end of the day, the world we live in now, it does not pay to not be well-rounded. It does not pay to not be a sensitive person. It does not pay to actually not love people and to not care and to not want to do good work and to not impact the world in a positive way. You can't shortcut all that stuff anymore. You can't shortcut that stuff anymore. Jeff says, by the way, Jeff is one of our superstar students inside of Entre who's forging an amazing path for himself. He's on Instagram right now. He says, I want to hear about how to become a more relatable person. Money is an afterthought. Amen. Amen. Money is an afterthought. The money comes last. But that's not fair, Jeff. I was laid off from COVID. I need the money now. It doesn't matter. You can't say, but Jeff, there's a boulder on top of me. I want to be able to bench press 800 pounds right now so that I can get the boulder off of me. It doesn't change the fact that the boulder weighs what it weighs and you're not strong enough to move it. And if you wanted to be able to move it, you should have been training hard for the last 5 years. Urgency doesn't change reality. The reality is, if you want a different life, start working holistically on all the key aspects of life, physically, personally, and professionally. Get better, get excellent. By the way, people will like you more. You will do more good things in the world. Your family will appreciate this. Your family will probably lower their requirement that you bring home lots of money because you'll be bringing home something else of value, which is you, because you're becoming a better person. You can't change the reality of time. And all these people that I get, these are the same people that they're pounding energy drinks. They're running on 3 hours of sleep. They're trying to shortcut all the fundamentals of human health so that they can ultimately get a result. That's the same group of people that are coming into my world and saying, I don't want to talk about the mushy stuff. Just tell me how to make money. I'm telling you how to make money. The way that you make money is you become a dynamic, excellent person. Just be a dynamic, excellent person. And if you're like, well, I'm not, that's the only conversation you need to focus on. Don't worry about, you're not one funnel away. I always feel like I'm picking on Russell. It's such an easy tagline to take a shot at. You're not one funnel away. You're one human being away. The human being that you need to be to attract the relationships and the capital and the energy and the resources and the luck. Just the damn luck that you will attract by being a more dynamic and excellent human being will do way more for your financial life than any marketing tactic. I promise you that. You're not one funnel away. You're one human being away. How hard have you been working on being that human being? It's the only question that matters. How hard have you been working on being that human being? Dave Asprey has spent $2 million voluntarily putting himself in laboratories, in research facilities, having his blood measured, having his electrical field measured, having his brain waves measured, having his organs measured, having his hormones measured, going back again and again, measuring inputs and outputs. He said, I was a distributed systems engineer. I was a technologist. I realized from my computer training, you don't have to know exactly how a system works in order to optimize it. You just have to measure inputs and outputs. This guy has spent over a decade, and multiple millions of dollars of his own money experimentally testing inputs and outputs. Oh, by the way, he has a $100 million company. Do you think he has a $100 million company because he knows how to, he's the greatest marketer in the world? He may be, he's actually a really good marketer now, but he's a really good marketer now because of all the work that he's done on himself. It's like the greatest source of frustration I have in my life is that people want the results to be a function of everything but them. Thank you. There are so many hearts exploding on Instagram right now, and I appreciate it so much. Listen, if you like what I'm talking about, share it. Let the world hear this. I believe the world needs to hear this, or I wouldn't do what I do. I wouldn't be able to do what I do. It's a lot of damn work to do what I do. But I believe the world needs to hear it. And if you agree with me, I appreciate and invite you to share this. Give me a like. Feel free to give me a comment. Just ask me a question. I'll come back and review the feed and answer questions. let the algorithms know that we're onto something here. I just think we've got to get this out there. People are in a desperate, fear-based place a lot in the world right now because of circumstances beyond their control. And here's the thing about being scared because of circumstances beyond your control. If you have historically been happy or felt accomplished because of circumstances you couldn't control, then you are prone to being afraid because of circumstances that you can't control. The idea is not to engineer your environment so that there is no fear. The idea is to pull your emotional center to be completely internal so that nothing outside of you can either produce excessive joy or excessive fear. If it's all happening in here, then nothing can scare you and nothing can elate you. Because ultimately, you're the source. The hungry ghosts either get fed from within or they'll need to be fed from without. And if you're in a place where the ghosts are fed from without, then you've probably got addictions. You've probably got predilections. You've probably got destructive habits. You might even be consuming harmful substances. And on the flip side, you're probably finding excessive joy, excessive dopamine release, excessive satisfaction in things external to you. Bring it all into the center and build that center so that it's a powerful center. And ultimately, that is the ultimate insurance policy in this world against any mishap, against any circumstance, against any uncontrollable variable. It's all in here. How hard are you working in here? If, the best time to start working in here, I started working in here and in here intensely 10 years ago. My life has transformed along every imaginable lane. Physical, personal, and professional, I'm a completely different person than I was 10 years ago when I started doing the hard work up here. The best time was the past. If you haven't started, start now. Stop looking for hacks. Stop looking for tricks. Stop looking for external strategies. Stop looking for external rewards. It's all right here. Okay, team? I'm going to go. I love and appreciate this world, this community, this opportunity. I have if I've done any one thing well in this world, I hope in the last few years, it's show you that if you believe in something and you're willing to go to abnormal lengths to try to positively impact the world, there is a giant opportunity on the other side of unnaturally enthusiastic commitment and drive. On the other side of unnaturally, I say unnaturally because most people don't do it. That if you can actually get bought in enough on something where you go, you know what, I think that I can change the world, and I think that the world needs what I have to offer. On the other side of that, there is an opportunity beyond anything you can possibly imagine. My world has changed. Not to mention, I literally just got off an interview with Dave Asprey. That wasn't in my cards a few years ago. All because I started doing this. I just started going out and trying to help the world and share what I've learned, what I'm still learning, what I know I need to learn more of, but just to share and bring everybody in and try to do this together. And it's just incredible what can happen. I hope that lands with you. If you learn nothing else from me, you don't have to read all the details and learn the nuances of my story. Just look at like a snapshot. Where was this guy a few years ago? Where is he today? What changed? What changed is I just decided not to care anymore, not to limit myself in any way because of what people think. That's literally the only thing that changed. But you'll never get there if you don't do the work. Thanks so much. Appreciate everyone.